What's going on, everybody? In today's video I want to talk about Iren or Iris Energy. They just released their mining update, and I will say right off the bat, chart wise I think it's in a buy zone. If that's all you came here for, yes, I do think Iren's a buy. Thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of your day. And for the rest of you interested in the Bitcoin mining update, the reasoning on the chart, why I think it's a buy zone where it's at, here I have Iren's mining updates, the July and the June, July obviously being the most recent. Let's compare them. So Bitcoin mined, we did see a decrease in July from June. This, in my opinion, is due to difficulty level increasing. All these other Bitcoin miners are increasing hash rate as well. We should see a huge tick up in Bitcoin mined once they get this 20 exahash that they do expect in the third quarter. And they expect to get to 30 exahash in the fourth quarter. But yeah, the 20 exahash in the third quarter, they're running out of time here. That should be July, August, September, so they have like 2 months left. One thing that they don't mention is their cash and debt level. Last update, we heard that they have 425 million in cash with no debt. They didn't say anything here. Maybe they increased that debt a little bit and just didn't feel like mentioning it this time. Cloud services, nothing really new. They still have their 816 NVIDIA H100s. Look at their hardware profit margin on their AI, 98%. Look at their hardware profit margin on their Bitcoin mining, -1% in the last update at least. So a loss. Because the electricity cost for Bitcoin, 61,600 Bitcoin is under that price right now. Revenue per Bitcoin, 61,300. That was when Bitcoin was 61,300. At least this is what they're going off of, the numbers they're going off of. But yeah, the electricity cost, 61,600. Bitcoin has to be in the high 60s for Iren to pull a profit. Better yet, much higher, obviously, because this is actually only the electricity cost. What about overhead? What about rent? What about maintenance? What about employees? I'd assume that their actual cost per Bitcoin, their all-in cost per Bitcoin is probably closer to the mid-70s, 75K, maybe higher. But really, that isn't that far away when you think about where Bitcoin is now. Here's their exahash growth plans. You'll see nothing has really changed. Everything is still pretty much expected to be the same. Even though we are getting closer and closer to this third quarter of 2024, they did not change their 20 exahash goal. That is good. Now, part of the reason their hash rate was affected, we saw decrease month over month, isn't just the difficulty levels increase like I initially thought, but also because they did plan some outages for their phase 1 substation upgrades. So there were some miners turned off there. Also, they had issues with their T21 miner performance because of a bad batch that they received, and Bitmain is in the process of replacing these defective units. Here's some positive news. Current fleet efficiency of 24 joules per terahash expected to improve to 17 joules per terahash by the end of next month as part of the expansion to 20 exahash. By the end of next month, they did go in and say that. They do still expect this exahash growth. And they do still expect this increased efficiency. The 2024 expansion is on schedule. 10.5 exahash is installed as of August 5. They got to get moving if they want that 20 exahash. The S21 Pro miner shipments, deliveries, and racking is underway to support the expansion to 20 exahash by the end of next month. That's exciting. By the end of September, we should see that 20 exahash. They will have made that goal. Q3 2024, they made it if they can get that 20 exahash by the end of September. As for their AI, I believe this is new. Serviced 6 end customers to date across the reserved and on-demand market. They're expecting to launch the Childress GPU pilot in the second half of 2024. And their AI cloud service revenue has increased by 17% versus June and 42% versus May. The AI side is growing. I love it. That's what I want to see. And here's their kind of a long-term growth trajectory. You'll see their total of 3,000 megawatts. That is a lot of energy. And they expect total operating and construction. They expect to reach a total capacity of 30 exahash per second. With the 1,400 megawatts, which is a big portion of their overall 3,000 megawatts, this is expected in late 2026. By the end of this year, they are expecting 30 exahash, 10 exahash from their phase 3 of Childress, another 6 from phase 2 of Childress, and another 3.5 for a fleet upgrade, which is incremental. All of this expected over the rest of this year. They also have some events coming. They are pretty heavy in events coming in August, specifically late August. This could bring some attention, investor attention. Now, looking at Iren on the chart, I do like it where it's at. I would be more than happy to buy here. And to me, anywhere specifically in the 8s and under is a fantastic zone to buy. I do believe under 10 is still okay. But you know, when you're in the top range of this pattern, you want to start taking profits, start trimming. So look at it like this. Maybe divide this up. And consider trimming along the way. When you get to this higher range of this pattern, consider trimming. When you get to the lower range, consider buying. Of course, this might not play out this whole cycle. We might not follow this to a T, but this is my general thought for Iren over the rest of this cycle. It's going to go up and to the right until late 2025. Here's 2026 here. If we follow this, continue to follow this, you know, sure, we'll probably pop out of it at some point, maybe on great earnings. Maybe if Bitcoin goes parabolic, we might get to some crazy levels and this pattern might, you know, invalidate itself. But for now, I'm following this. You know, we pop, we pull back, we pop, we pull back, we pop, we pull back. Very, very orchestrated, very, very simple chart. Follow the lower level, buy, go to the higher level, sell, take profits, trim, sell covered calls, sell puts on the bottom, sell covered calls at the top, etc. One thing about Iren is they are expecting a profit, while other miners are not, so this might be a miss. I just find it kind of strange that Iren is the only one expecting a profit here after we just got through the halving. They are expecting also a growth in revenue, which is pretty freaking huge. $60 million revenue expected from 54 million last quarter. Most are expecting decrease in revenue, so it's kind of interesting that Iren is expecting an increase. If we happen to see these numbers miss, if we happen to see them not hit profitability, hit, you know, unprofitable, these will be great buying opportunities. Otherwise, I feel like you want to take advantage now. You want to buy Iren while it's in the 7s. You know, it got all the way down here to 6 and bounced off right on this support area. But you want to be buying it in the lower zone if you want to buy Iren anytime during this cycle. Preferably in 2024. You know, I wouldn't add too much in 2025. Never know where things can go. This cycle might disappoint us. You never know. One thing I do know is I don't want to be buying Iren when it's in the top range. I want to be buying it when it's in the low range, and here's a great opportunity to do so. But I will say, you know, keep some cash on the side for earnings. You never know. They might miss this. My assumption is they aren't going to hit these numbers for some reason. I just don't see them being the only Bitcoin miner that's profitable. As much as I love Iren, I do expect some kind of weak numbers after we just got through the halving. And that's what we've been seeing by the miners reporting so far. We have seen some good forward guidance, so that is the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think they're going to see a profitable quarter, but if they do, that'll be very exciting, and you'll be glad you bought here. If they don't, we might see a pullback, and you'll be glad you were able to buy, have a little bit of cash on the side. Maybe we can buy in the 6s, 5s. To me, for Iren, we're closer to the bottom than the top, and I do think there's a fantastic time to buy Iren. And on our way down, we're getting some pretty major divergences. You're seeing the price dropping. However, you're seeing RSI kind of keep this level. But you can see that buyers are starting to step in as it's pulling back, momentum starting to dry up. I do think this is the time you want to be buying Iren while it's in this lower range. We're talking about a miner with little to no debt, still a decent cash pile. One thing about Iren to be aware of is they really don't focus on hodling, which is something that is kind of a concern to me. I do think miners like Mara and CleanSpark, for example, that have big Bitcoin holdings, when Bitcoin runs, I think those miners will benefit the most. But that's not to say miners like Iren, miners like BTBT, miners like Sphere 3D for that matter. I do think these will rip, but I think it's important to have a diversified bag. Some miners that are really focused on hodling, some miners that are focused on AI. To me, it's a good idea to have multiple Bitcoin miners in your portfolio, not just one, and for different reasons. Maybe you want a couple of small caps because towards the late end of the cycle, they might rally the most. Maybe you want some large caps because they're most safe, and you really don't want to take too much risk, but you want a little bit of exposure to Bitcoin miners. Maybe you want to buy something simple as WGMI, which gives you general exposure to the whole industry. In the end, exposure is what matters, and we will be glad that we were a part of this cycle once things wrap themselves up. These are the opportunities that you want to take advantage of and load the boat on. You want to buy the fear. And this is a fearful time, make no mistake about it. But thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next one.